Creative friends. My name is Annie Reiser. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher and a certified botanical illustrator. And I'd like to welcome you today to another of my lunchtime tangles. Today we're going to be learning Sampson. It's this pattern right here, the leafy oak leaf looking pattern. It is a Zentangle original and obviously one of my go-tos as a botanical illustrator. And so today I'm going to show you how to do the basic, but also a little bit more in terms of how I like to shade things as a botanical illustrator that makes this look a little bit more realistic and less stylized. So let's get to it. I'm going to be using the beautiful gray tile from Zentangle that is you can get on zentangle.com. It's a beautiful paper that's actually my favorite of all of their papers, and I like using it with the greens because the greens look so beautiful on the gray, and they shade up nicely with the graphite that way. And we're going to start with corner dots, which is part of the Zentangle ritual. And we're going to do a string. So I'm going to just do my string in graphite and my border in graphite. And I am going to do a straight border today because my tile today is a design that I wanted to do for you so that you could practice cubine, which we learned last time. And so this tile, as you can see, combines cubine from our last YouTube and the new Sampson. And the reason I'm giving you this kind of a design is because I've used it successfully in several of my polygons that I actually give classes on. This is a polygon that is called Honeybee Mine, and as you can see, I in each of the corners I did a similar treatment of Sampson, and that's what I was kind of going for here. Here's another one, but I do want you to note that on these, the Sampson is elongated and much thinner, so there is a bit a variation there, whereas so here it's a bit, I'm going to use more like an oak leaf. My string is going to be cubine. It's going to be the cubine basic step, which is to make a cube in the corner, an approximate square, and then going from here to here, we would make a diagonal line. I don't need to put it in here because I'm going to be treating that differently up here. So onto our Sampson. We're going to I'm going to be using today an 05. It's a very dark green. It's number 230. I think it's called forest green. And it looks almost black on the paper, but it is dark green when you look at it up close up. Starting at the bottom, we're going to just do a line, kind of bowed on either side of that midrib, and that's where we're going to be building our Sampson. Sampson's so easy that I don't even have a step-out card for it. At least it's easy for me. Of course, you're welcome to go and step it out and keep it as an archive, but all you do is make little kind of veins on either side, and depending on how long your veins are is going to determine the width of your Sampson leaf. And I like, as I get up towards the top, to get a little bit smaller. Then all we're going to do is start at the top and a little bit further away from this midrib stem, we're going to start inking our leaf shape, which is nothing more than a wiggly line And you can also vary this by making it more pointy at the top or more rounded. And there is our first side, and we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. And on this side, we're going to use that wonderful concept of overlap. So I'm going to put my first vein here, and it would be going behind that leaf. This one I'll put over here. Simple as that. So that's basically it. That is Sampson. I'm going to show you what I like to do to kind of polish this up. You can do some thick and thin lines, and I like to do that on the underside on one side. I just like to restate this area. Do you see how that's already bringing some life into this drawing? So that lively line is exactly what it states. It's lively. It really adds a finishing touch. Then you can do also similar things in here. You could make your midrib a little bit thicker, and or you can do some weight at the bottom of your veins here. Just a little bit. Okay, that is Sampson, and now we're just going to learn how to shade. Today I'm going to be using my F, which is a fine from Staedtler. I love this pencil. And the general shading for Sampson is just to go down the midrib with some graphite. Take your tortillon, this is my blending stump, and blend away from that midrib on either side. That always causes this to make the leaf like it looks like it's furling up, kind of going like that, right? Gives that illusion. So this is the basic way that Sampson is taught, but I carry it a little bit further as a botanical illustrator. I can't have nothing over here on shading, so I'm going to go ahead and add some graphite also to these veins, and I'm going to draw out my shading to make it look a little bit more botanical, like real, and I'll show you what I mean. First, let's load it, the graphite on all of the veins. So watch this. So I'm going to draw out my graphite into these little areas that are so plain up there, leaving a little bit of light on the edges. And not every single, you don't have to put it every single ridge to make this look kind of believable. Because what's happening here is, if this were a real leaf, this is going up. And so as this goes down, we're going to have a little bit of a shadow in there, right? It'll be darker. And this being the lighter area would be in light, and that would have a highlight on it. So that's what we're going for when we're doing this. It just makes the leaf look like it's undulating, that it's got some movement, so it's not so flat. Because this is rather large on this piece, right? If you have a really small or a thinner leaf, you won't get a lot of that detail shading possible. But since I'm working on such a large area and I can really show you well this finishing touch, and you can always like go back in if you think that the center needs to be a little bit darker. You can layer up your graphite. You can also use different graphite hardnesses. Something softer would make your blending darker, right? I love this part. Shading is my favorite part of Zentangling, because you've got all the lines down, and you can just enjoy that finishing touch of shading. So what I also would do, and there's not a whole lot of it going on here, but we do have an overlap, right? I'm going to get my softer pencil out for this, just because it's a little darker. This is my 3B. I'm going to add some shading on this side of the leaf because it's on top of this whole leaf here, right? So we want it to be brought forward and push that other one back, and you can do that with your shading. And you can even put a little here. So do you see how that looks like this is on top and this is behind? That's another great finishing trick. Also, you could get a little bit more botanical if you'd like. I think I'm going to leave this one like that. But as you see what I did on this, I actually added a few more veins out towards the top. The other thing I wanted to show you is I'm using this gray tile, and you won't be able to see it as well on camera, but it's really fun to shade these gray tiles or put highlights on the gray tiles with Jelly Roll pens and also the General's white chalk. So I'm using my General's white chalk, and I'm going to pick up on some of those areas where I said they would be in highlight, right? And I'm just going to add chalk there. You don't have to do it everywhere. Just a little bit adds sparkle. And then if you want to blend that, I always like to have a designated tortillon for my white chalk so that I don't contaminate it with my, if I went on that with this tortillon that has the graphite on it, I would contaminate the white. So I'm going to get this and just kind of blend it a little bit so it's not so harsh lined. But I think you can see it's subtle, but very beautiful and effective. The difference between this and then this one with no white charcoal. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side too. And the nice thing about using this charcoal is if you don't like what you did, you can easily just get rid of it with your kneaded eraser or an eraser, plastic eraser, and start all over again. And you can also build. If you find that this isn't dark enough here, you can just add some more on top. It's a really wonderful, forgiving tool. Sometimes when you blend it, it kind of goes into the tooth of the paper and sort of gets lost, so you have to come back and add a little bit more on top. And there is Sampson. I'm not going to finish the rest, but I will tell you how I finish the rest. That'll be up to you to practice on. What you do, the biggest challenge is going to be making your grid, and when you make your grid, you're going to have to go, obviously, draw behind the leaves. I would say that's the biggest challenge. I would suggest you even maybe pencil it out, and then that way you know you've got your grid going the way you want it to go. Then in here, I like to do a little frame, so I just add, I ink that out and add an inked frame, and then I do a circle in the middle for my pearl. And what I did on this one was I used a Senna type pattern where we just made these like little directional changed waves and thick and thin lines in there. So that is how you would finish out Sampson. Hope you enjoyed this tangle. I love it, and I think you will find yourself putting it everywhere soon. So I did want to make note that I am teaching at a retreat this summer for the Rocky Mountain Zentangle retreat, and I can put the information in my video for you. This is the pattern we're going to be doing for that, and this is a online video class that I have offered. It's called Honeybee Mine, and it's 2 sections, and it's a video class taking you through this step by step. So if you're interested in either of those, you can check out the links. You can just go to mybowtangle.net, which is at the end of the video here today, and check out my classes. Thanks again. See you next time. Well, that's it for today's Tangle. Thanks for joining me. If you like these lunchtime tutorials, please give them a thumbs up and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I also invite you to check out my website for classes that I've scheduled or to purchase my Tangle tags for your favorite step-outs. Our website is bowtangle.net. I'm also leaving you with some other links. Zentangle.com is where you can learn more about the Zentangle method from its founders, Rick Roberts and Maria Thomas, and you can also visit their store for a multitude of Zentangle paper tiles, tools, books, kits, subscribe to their newsletter, and get some other really valuable resources. TanglePatterns.com is that site I talk about where you can explore hundreds of Tangle patterns, read about them, and get the step out, which is basically the deconstruction of the pattern so that you can recreate it on your own. And finally, if you'd like to share your session results with me and my student community, please join Annie's Bowtangle Alumni Facebook page. This is a private group where we inspire each other with our work and offer tips and useful information about art and Zentangle.